Okay, I'm doing this video as kind of a summary of Chicago Commons and a little background on how we got to this point with the project and where we're at on design and just an overall summary for the project. So the concept for Chicago Commons began with a project that I found to be a very successful project in downtown Naperville called Charleston Row. So Charleston Row is a project that's built by Charleston Builders. This was the initial project that they did. This project is 6 townhomes. They sold for between 1.3 and 1.8 million. Most of them actually were custom builds. Charleston Builders sold them by basically starting the project, putting a sign in the ground, and away they went. And they ended up selling them out without having to go on the multiple listing service, which I found to be very interesting. Knowing that, I thought, wow, there's actually a lot of demand for a project like that in downtown Naperville. So Charleston's project is right here on the corner of, kitty corner from Napier Settlement, right on Aurora Avenue. If you know downtown Naperville, Aurora is a busier intersection right here. Aurora and Washington is one of the busiest intersections in the city. There's a Burger King right here. Right here, there's a Walgreens. City Hall is right here, and then the new Water Street project is right here. So the Charleston project is actually right in the epicenter of what's happening in downtown Naperville, but it's also right on a busy street. Our project is right here. We're on Chicago Avenue, which is a historic street, kind of the west entry into the downtown Naperville market. Beautiful historic homes along Chicago Avenue. We're right next to the Sunrise Apartments, senior living right there on Chicago. And our boundary is basically on the north side, Chicago Avenue, which, as you look at this floor plan, this is Chicago Avenue, like right along here. This is the north side. So we've got 2 buildings that face Chicago Avenue, and then we've got 5 buildings that face south that are off of Chicago and face East Greens Park. To the west is also East Greens Park, and to the east is the parking lot for Sunrise. So really, we don't have a neighbor on any of our sides except for our north side, which is Chicago Avenue. So that's kind of our concept. You can kind of see our marketing plan here is 2 buildings at the front facing Chicago Avenue, a 5-unit building at the back, which with this drive out. So the drive out, you're coming in off Chicago Avenue. You'll have your garage parking here, kind of in the motor court. A couple guest spots on this end. This is south facing once again. That's kind of your front door for the rear building, and then your front door for the back your front door for the front building faces Chicago Avenue. Terraces on the top level that face south for both the front building and the rear building. This water feature over here, I'm going to describe a little bit as in our survey. So this water basically is a stormwater runoff that we're between what is, call it uphill from us north. And downhill from us being the DuPage River. So what happened when we bought this property was that this used to be kind of a flood zone that came from the front of the property here and then came all the way out to the back of the property. About 10 years ago, what the city of Naperville did is they took on a project along with DuPage County and the Army Corps of Engineers, which diverted a lot of the stormwater runoff uphill from our property into this large retention area that they made behind the Naperville Tennis Club. So what that did is it allowed our property to move the flood line from being kind of in this area to being strictly along our west edge. And that allowed us to do our layout and our park, and really allowed us to do this project. And that all came together actually after we had an agreed to contract. We were already in due diligence phase. We got the updated survey. So that was kind of part of the story of how we got the project. So we do own the land outright. We have gone through all the entitlement phases with the city of Naperville. We've been signed off on by the county. We've been signed off on by the city, and we've got our architect. And our architect actually is the same architect used by Charleston for their design. So we kind of, my plan was to use Derrick Architecture because they were the architect that designed Charleston Row and also designed Charleston Row Phase 2. Charleston Row Phase 2 is right here, and Charleston Row Phase 2 is our direct competition. So they're selling these off right now. We're probably about a month and a half, 2 months behind where they are. Charleston Row Phase 2 is the same size as us, very similar floor plans, and I've paid very close attention and kind of gotten inside information from Derrick Architecture to make sure that while we're making our design decisions that we're taking into account our competition and what they're doing. So we've run our elevator all the way up to the top level. That's not something that they're doing currently. We put bathrooms on the top level, also not something they're doing. We're doing things like locating our air conditioning units in different places so they're not in the deck space on the top floor. Small changes like that I think are going to help us a lot in our marketing efforts. So as far as how we got to Chicago Commons, the project itself, so this is actually Chicago Commons, the name of a building in downtown Chicago. When I was conceptualizing the marketing plan and the project in very early stages, I Googled this and I found this building and it looked familiar because it's still existing. It's right by the Tesla dealership right off of Grand Avenue. And this is the Bennett Day School. You can kind of see it from 9094 as you're driving south into the city. I love this building. I think it's got great brownstone detailing, and I thought that would be a great concept for our project. So we picked up a lot of the brick detailing, the window, the eyebrows, the rounded top windows. We did a lot of things to kind of mimic the early 1900s design from Chicago Commons. So you can kind of see they're very similar. It's a great story. It's fun. And I think it's going to be kind of a great tie-in to what we're doing, which is we're bringing, a Chicago-style townhome product to the downtown Naperville market, with some really, interesting, great design features. So part of our design team, we did hire Christina Hammergren as our interior designer. Christina is really talented. She was the in-house designer for LG Construction. LG is one of my favorite builders in the city. They do a fantastic job with what they build, how they design, and I thought having her as part of the team was really going to help us kind of hit it out of the park with our overall designs. So you can kind of see these are some of the inspiration boards that Christina is using in her overall plan for our model units. So our current plan right now is that we're going to be building all the buildings at one time. So we're going to build all three buildings, just from we have kind of a tight site. We want to get all the foundations in. We want to frame them all up and get them all under roof. Then we're going to build a model at Unit 904, hopefully delivering sometime end of January 2020, with the hopes that we're going to fully sell out the project by end of 2020, and be able to build them all out, kind of as needed, as the delivery is necessary with how we sell off. As far as what the floor plan looks like, very typical Chicago-style townhome. Unexcavated basement, or unexcavated space underneath the garage, but an unfinished basement here for storage. We're going to pipe for a bath, and we're also going to pipe to have the elevator go all the way down to the basement. It shows as an optional elevator. We've basically made the decision that's likely going to be a standard, and we're going to increase our pricing so that we can do that as a standard. Full bath on level 1. So you're walking in, here's your 2-car garage, walking in, mudroom, stairs down to the basement. And this is actually going to become more of a formal wall here with a foyer and an office / flex area here. That's what Charleston Row Phase 2 is doing, and I think that's a smart design. So we're making that change also, making that standard. Stairs then go up to level 2. This is going to be open to above, so you're going to see up 2 stories at this level. Which is going to be a really cool detail. The kitchen's really nice and wide. It opens into a sitting area, which is very current and common in current designs. In lieu of the pantry here, this is going to be an elevator, but we do have plenty of storage in the cabinetry, which is going to make up for the lack of the pantry. Half bath on this level, and then nice room for a family room and a dining area. Up another set of stairs to the bedroom level. The bedroom level is going to have a nice master bathroom. This layout we've changed a little bit, but we've been able to basically get a layout where you have a toilet room, you have double vanity, you have a bath and a shower layout, and his and her closets, which I thought was very important. That is once again something that we have that Charleston Row 2 does not, and I think it's going to be a competitive advantage for us as we sell. So 2 bedrooms really has kind of been the preferred layout. We had a 3-bedroom layout also, but that extra bedroom, we've got plenty of extra space to create an office space or a guest area, which generally is why that third bedroom is on people's minds. Up another set of stairs to this terrace and rec room level. So this is basically kind of a top floor penthouse that has this private terrace that is south facing. The elevator is going to go all the way up to the top level. Once again, I mentioned earlier, this is not a feature that Charleston Road 2 has. We felt it was important. We got early feedback from marketing efforts that folks, really wanted to know why we weren't putting an elevator on the top level. It's a 5-story property. It needs, elevator to each level, and we felt that was important, so we added it. So this is our logo, something that I thought was a real nice fit for the project. Kind of a throwback old school with kind of a taste of the new, which is really kind of our concept in general. I'm trying to think what I didn't cover. So I did. I basically. Oh, we are through due diligence with the city. We're ready to go in for permit. We've got our engineering docs done, and we're ready to pull the trigger. We're using Heartland Bank as our financing. Heartland has internally approved the deal, and we're in the middle of our appraisal to kind of get our final pieces in place where they can sign off on the loan and fund. They can fund probably in as short as 3 or 4 weeks, and then we'll start demo and we'll be ready for our permit when we get it. Right now, if there is interest in the project, I can send you a pro forma, and we can talk more about what that pro forma looks like. It's likely going to be a 12 to 18 month hold, with money coming in hopefully in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and then our plan, which I mentioned, was basically to build our model, and then we'll have that in early 2020, and our plan is to be out of the project by the end of 2020. So it's going to be a fun one, going to be an exciting project. I'd love to have you involved in it, and I'm available for questions, and obviously I will be sending along additional information if there is further interest. Thanks a lot for your time.